Hello and welcome back to 501c TV. I'm your host, Janelle Harris, and this is the podcast that talks to system change leaders, thought leaders, nonprofits, and nonprofit partners to find out what's new and exciting in the industry. Maybe you're already a nonprofit or you're thinking about starting a nonprofit. Hopefully I have some information here today that will be useful for you. And I'm excited today because I have in studio with me Jason Mandle, who is the Director of Operations for an awesome nonprofit here locally called Restoration Bridge. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Janelle.
Thank you for joining me. I'm pretty excited to talk to you today because, in doing a little bit of research on Restoration Bridge, I feel like this is one of those really important nonprofits that is out there serving the community, and we're dealing with food insecurity specifically today. So Jason's going to walk us through, who is Restoration Bridge, what you guys do, how you operate. And it's pretty remarkable when you think about it, because I think a lot of times in our community specifically, there's all these things that are kind of going on in the background day in and day out that the rest of the world has no idea that's even happening.
Absolutely.
And I really want to showcase that because I think it's really important, and I think it's really cool. And the just the sheer numbers that you guys do and the people that you serve is pretty outstanding. So with that being said, I'm just going to let you talk a little bit about what you do, who is Restoration Bridge, how you got involved, and how we're here today.
Yeah, I'd like to start talking about food insecurity because, people misunderstand what that is. Palm Beach County is such a unique county because there's a lot of wealth here, and there's a lot of poverty here, depending on where you go.
Correct.
The latest statistics that I've seen, 200,000 people in this county are food insecure, meaning they don't know where their next meal is coming from. 64,000 of those are children who are going to bed hungry.
Right.
So we directly impact the food insecure. That brings us to who Restoration Bridge is. So in 2005, my boss, the executive director, Pastor Dan West, founded an organization because he saw a need. He was working out of a church, and the decision was made to open up a little pantry to address that food insecurity, and he did. And we've grown since then. We're projected to do about 8 million pounds of food this year.
That's unbelievable. I mean, it's crazy to think about that number.
Yeah. So we are taking food, in-kind donated food, rescued food from various different partner agencies, stores, and redistributing it.
Okay.
So we're not passing through bulk food like a food bank.
Right.
We are redistributing food. And the model that looks like, we are taking food in bulk, repackaging it to about a 50-pound box of food, and then getting it to a family, which supplements the food that they have for the week.
Okay.
So, like I said, 8 million pounds of food is roughly 6.7 million meals.
That's unbelievable. And like I said, it's, and it's kind of just in our backyard here in Palm Beach County, which is pretty amazing. And also in the same token, it's pretty heartbreaking to think about. And I see like when you talk about back in 2005, anywhere you go around in this county, like you can turn a corner and you can see it, and you can see people that are definitely in need. So I can understand, from Pastor Dan's perspective, why he would start that and why that would tug on him in those certain communities. So maybe you can talk a little bit too about, the food itself. So I think a lot of people think, when they think feeding people that are hungry, like you said, there's a facility that you go to and somebody can walk in and, they can get either a box to go or they can pick what they want and take it. Sure. That's not what this is. This is different.
This is a little bit different. So we do have some collaborators that are soup kitchens. So we will, get the food to the soup kitchen to cook it and feed on a, instantaneous basis.
Sure.
Our model for distribution is we're bringing tens of thousands of pounds to a specific location, and that's redistributed to a family.
Gotcha.
So that family will be notified that food is available at this particular date and time and location, and they're coming in, they're getting registered through our processes, and receiving that supplemental box of food to then take home and supplement their food for the week.
And do those locations change?
They do.
Okay.
They do. So on our website, restorationbridge.com, we list on our on a monthly basis our distribution calendar.
Perfect.
So every Saturday morning we're at Church by the Glades in downtown Lake Worth.
Okay. Yep.
That does not change. What changes is our distributions throughout the week.
Okay.
So one of our largest partners in getting the food to where it needs to go is the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
So their community policing units in all of their districts come to us and say there's a food desert. For instance, in Pahokee, we were in Pahokee yesterday.
Gotcha.
So then we put together the model of food distribution that I previously discussed, bring that food to Pahokee, and notify the community through our social media, through our website,
Okay.
and through the Sheriff's Department social media and website that this food will be available between these hours.
And I think that's so cool that you guys are partnered up with the sheriff's office specifically. Is that kind of like a common thing in other communities, or is that sort of like a unique thing
It's a
Palm
unique
Beach?
thing to Palm Beach County, and I'm not involved in other counties
Yeah.
as much
just
as I am in
curious. I'm
Palm
like-
Beach County. It's invaluable for us because they're boots on the ground.
Yes.
They're the people that are running into the single mother who does not have food.
Correct.
And they can contact us and say, I need food at this location at this time. I don't have the manpower to be everywhere
Right.
throughout the county. So to have, all the sheriff's deputies on the road to tell me where this food needs to go.
Correct.
It's invaluable.
Right.
And it's a strong partnership because we're helping them, secure and police the communities.
Right.
And they're helping us get the food to where it needs to go.
Yeah, and so Jason was telling me off camera that he might get a call from like an officer or a deputy at like midnight and be like, "Hey, there's a call that I went on and they need some help," and so that's where Restoration Bridge steps in and then they can fill that gap. So
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
A story that warms my heart, and just the commitment of these community policing deputies. I had a deputy drive an hour and a half from Belglade because he ran into a family that hadn't had food in their kitchen for 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
A family of, I believe there was 6 people in the home.
Yeah.
And he drove all the way from Belglade to our warehouse. I met him off hours, got him the food that he needed, and he drove it all the way back out there.
I mean,
these single stories are what, keep us going to do what we do.
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, and that's the stuff like you don't hear about, and that's why I like doing. I love doing these shows and having you guys on because people need to know that, and it's it's a feel good. It's restores a little bit of faith in humanity. There's still like really good people out there, you guys.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. So with that being said, that's a lot of food. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of manpower. So what's the biggest challenge for you guys?
Manpower and money.
People.
People to start. We're an organization with very low overhead.
Yeah.
So the size of our organization, I spoke to the tonnage that we're doing, 8 million pounds.
I mean,
We're projected this year. 98% of what we do on a manpower perspective is done by volunteers.
okay.
So we're in need every day for volunteers in our warehouse, drivers,
Okay.
People that come out to the communities and actually hand the food to
Sure.
the people in need. That is a huge need for us.
Okay, and I know you have a kind of a network of some people that are like your regulars, but if somebody wants to volunteer and get involved, they just go on your website.
Go on our website. Yep.
Okay.
You can donate time. There's a link there.
Okay.
That email will come to our volunteer coordinator. That volunteer will be reached out to and see where they can fit it in their schedule.
Okay, awesome. What do you think is like one of the reasons you guys have been so successful, and whether that's with your partners or just with the community as a whole?
Yeah.
What are a few things that you can contribute that to?
So I believe a lot of it has to do with the way that we operate.
Okay.
We're very responsible with the food that we take in, and we have zero waste.
Okay, that's awesome.
So every pound of food that comes in, goes out in a timely manner to get to where it needs to go.
Got it.
And we're accountable for where that food is going. So our food partners love that.
Yeah, they know it's being
they know it's being used
and not
the
going
way
to
that
waste.
it should be. Correct. And we have a packaged model now that was founded at our Saturday morning distribution, where
Okay.
we know what the footprint looks like. We know how to get the food and the resources from point A to point B and then distribute it efficiently.
Okay,
Right, so I can take that model and bring it anywhere that the food is needed.
gotcha.
So it's an efficient model to bring the food from point A to point B.
Makes sense, which is good. And so you said you guys have been around since 2005. right?
Correct.
Okay, that's a long time. So what do you think has changed from 2005 to now that still makes you guys like so successful and so efficient?
I don't know what's changed, except that, just the growth of doing things well and having an impact in the community.
Yeah.
We've kind of done this in the shadows, where, we were getting the food to where it needed to go, and our name was sort of unknown. The food was showing up.
Right.
We deliver food to where it needs to go very efficiently, and we're accountable for it. So that growth is just going to happen.
Okay.
If we walk into a grocery store today compared to walking into a grocery store, a couple of years ago, we know that there's going to be a demand for groceries. Food insecurity is on the rise.
Yeah.
I believe I saw a stat in May, 6% increase in grocery expenses.
Yeah. Oh, I believe that.
Yeah. So, just look at the price of a dozen eggs,
Right.
Over the past couple of years. So that demand is not going anywhere.
Right.
And so it's important that we are accountable, that we are efficient in our deliverables, so that the supply is going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. So any events that you guys do, I know you guys are just like continually working. Are there any events that you guys have that you do throughout the year that you use as like a fundraiser or just for?
We haven't been.
Okay.
We are kind of shifting as we grow to need to be able to do that. We've been lucky and blessed to have donors who know us, who have supported us through the years. But as we grow and as we form more partnerships and as we move more food to where it needs to go, we need to increase our visibility within the community.
Right. I mean, for sure. Like I said, you guys, a lot of these nonprofits in the area, they just do so much behind the scenes, and that's okay too. It's not like you have to always be out in the forefront, but as long as you guys you're able to grow and still provide, all the services that you need to do. I think that's important. So what's on the horizon for the next 10 years?
10 years is a long time. I can speak to our growing partnership with the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah. And when did that start, by the way?
A couple of years ago.
Okay, so it's
two
been a few years.
dedicated community policing officers, Deputy Tammy Fox and Jason Coker from District 6,
Okay.
would come to our warehouse because they had people in need.
Right.
And that's a district that's very close to our warehouse in Lake Worth.
In Lake Worth, yeah.
And they would come to the warehouse and get food and bring it to where it needed to go.
Gotcha.
And the decision was made, since there were a lot of people in need, to just set up food distributions in their district.
Yeah.
And that's how that started, and
That's
has
really
grown, above that deputy level up into a relationship with Rick Bradshaw, Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, who has allowed us to grow this partnership.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I would be interested to see if there's like programs like this in other communities, Florida, beyond, wherever, because I think that's like it's like a no-brainer. Like it just makes total sense to have that that alignment like that. So I think that's really cool. Yeah. Really neat. Okay, so what else? What else would you like us to know about Restoration Bridge?
I would like the public at large to know that we need help to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
We need help to grow. We need people who are committed to our organization that want to donate time, other resources. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of money, to be quite frank. To our distribution in Pahokee, we brought nearly 48,000 pounds of food out to Pahokee.
Yeah.
And the amount of work that goes into that, sometimes goes missed when you just see the end result.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately, even like some of the Western communities, they kind of get lost in the shuffle because it's harder to get out there, to get the resources out there. So I was talking with a couple partners like a few weeks ago, and they said the same thing. They're like, we're trying to find ways to just get vehicles back and forth, and who do we partner with to do that? So
and I found an efficient way to do that is to partner with other NGOs, other nonprofits who are already out there. We partner with an organization called Guardians of the Glades.
Oh, okay.
Out in Belglade, who provides wonderful volunteers.
Cool.
So I don't have to bring all of our local to Lake Worth volunteers out to Belglade.
Totally.
So it's the efficient managing and allocation of resources.
Yeah.
Based on where that needs to to go, and that requires additional partnerships.
And I think also, like you said, there's a lot of feet on the ground people that just kind of have your back and are out there promoting what you do, or they might be in an area that you guys are not able to be in, and they can talk about what you do and help get resources out there. So I think it's like an interesting network, like you said. You get the right people in the right place at the right time, and everyone kind of pitches in. How far, north, south, and west do you guys go?
Jupiter, Boca, north and south.
Okay.
We're in Lake Worth, downtown Lake Worth.
Yeah.
About as far east as you can go. And
Okay.
we're out in Belglade, Pahokee, South Bay, which is about as far west as you can go in the county. So we have this pretty much covered.
Yeah.
And we are filling in the gaps with additional Sheriff's Department districts.
Which is awesome.
Throughout that footprint.
Okay, very cool. So, if there's anyone watching that would like to donate their time, their energy, their resources, I think a misconception a lot of times with nonprofits is everyone just thinks they have to write a check and open their checkbook. No. A lot of time, it's time and talent. So time and talent are a big one.
Absolutely, time and talent. Please reach out to us on our website. You can email me directly, jason@restorationbridge.net. We are servants. I respond to emails every day with people that want to help.
Yeah.
So please reach out.
Okay, perfect. And then do you guys have social too? Because we'll put up all your social handles.
Restoration Bridge, Instagram, Facebook, all over the map.
Okay, awesome. And anything you want to leave us with, favorite story?
Favorite story.
Give me a favorite story. We like to end on a good, feel good, positive.
Yeah, we had a family that we ran into in Jupiter, going back maybe 2 years. A woman was in line for food, in tears, and it's important that we listen at that point, because we don't just want to give food, walk away.
Right.
This leads me into talking about other social services and partnerships. We want to be able to point in the right direction once we've given the food. But that's why that conversation is so important. How can we help you besides food today? Got into the story. This woman was making pasta to feed her children, and had ketchup, pasta and ketchup.
Yep.
Going on a couple of weeks. Okay. And she was feeding her family. So you have that conversation. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. Right. It's getting out on the front lines and meeting these people, listening to these people, understanding where they're coming from. I've been involved in a lot of other organizations in my career. We're giving hope. It's not just food. I'm handing a box of food. Right. People know that other individuals care about them, and then we could have that conversation. How else can we help you? Right.
And so many times, you have that conversation, food is just a basic humanitarian necessity. If you're hungry, it just lends into so many other things that you can't physically, mentally focus on to make yourself better and do other things in your life, and just
I have that conversation with people in line for food, every distribution. Thank you so much for this food. It was, do I go grocery shopping, or do I take my child to the doctor? Right. So we can sort of bridge that gap, and make that decision a little easier.
Yeah, and it's a simple thing. Like I said, people don't realize sometimes, around South Florida, that there's this much of a problem for a lot of people, and it's sad. So I thank you so much for the amazing work you guys are doing. Like I said, it is I don't want it to go unnoticed. It's not going unnoticed, but if we can throw it out here and get you guys some more exposure, then that's what we're all about. So
thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else you want to leave us with today before we go?
Just thankful for the opportunity to get our name and our mission out there to the public.
Perfect. You guys go check out Restoration Bridge. We're going to put up their website, all of their social stuff. Follow them. If you want to hook up with Jason, we'll put all his information on there. He can let you know what opportunities there are to help. Any little bit of time and effort that you can give would be amazing. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And join us next time. Thank you to Kana House Studios, Wellington's first and only social media content creation studio. And we will see you next time on 501 CTV. Thank you.